It's a new chemical farm, I think, because once the system's degraded, the yields are going down, as you know, and they need more and more fertilizer. Sorry.
Puda si bangi osa kuma tausia maluwe tu tabawa ni sene bawa ni lene tu tuare. Now the kuga or the alo dijare time apien paga tuya suri miko yare puda si time yoga miko yare kamare general the boa bot the pibine atwaga jaja la pupu biche mabina jaja vela me the bon yoshi la yoshi
Thank you, Jeff. It's very interesting you have introduced this agriculture. The one you mentioned about the biodiversity, that I would like to say, opposite of biodiversity is monoculture. So we have been doing a lot of this monoculture, forestry or agriculture. For instance, teak, is a major tree species for export and value. In natural, they don't grow in pure. The teak is growing in natural forest from 8 to 12% of the natural forest. That is the part of biodiversity. As you mentioned about this biodiversity health, without using chemical fertilizer and so on, and they can control among themselves. See, that I agree with you. So even in agriculture, crop rotation. For instance, in Chastain, we have tried potato every year, production goes down. When you grow potato first year, second year, panna, we call it, what's a panna? And sometimes we change to potato to panna to ginger to garlic. So this sort of rotation cropping is a kind of biodiversity equivalent. So in the forestry or agriculture, this anything pure, anything monoculture against the nature. So I agree fully with you about the development of this sort of biodiversity conservation as well as biodiversity application to improve the natural state of agriculture and forestry. Thank you.
Jeff Jeff biodiversity. Diwa Mew song in Guaya General Pare, Diahudu, and the gateway or to Pare, the BG, to Majua, Umati, Shamji Maslushi, the line Aluticon at the line and Alu Sajavio, the Pibine, the Ziri Jara, Tanojola, and Nuchin to She did the Dina, the Pasa Jura, the Rodi Lugandu, Lugani, Diwa Mew song you were so young, and Lichi as well, looking at the Katapi top Yatamari.
Yes, thank you. I agree completely. I think monoculture is like the original sin, I think, of agriculture. Monoculture requires all the pesticides and all the other chemical inputs that are, it's just an unnatural situation. And in our work, I'm not promoting organic farming there. It's more a matter of promoting more rational use as a first step of using agrochemicals. So on my farm, because I earn money elsewhere, I'm not dependent on the land for my living, I don't use any chemicals at all. But the farmers that I'm working with, the idea is to minimize. It's a little bit like they talk about harm reduction with drug addicts. You know, you don't just tell them stop right now, because they'll just go back and do it again. Just minimize the harm you're doing, minimize the amount that you're doing, build your soil organic matter, and basically rebuild your soil so that you're not so required. Rebuild your soil and diversification so you're not so, you don't require the chemicals as much. And slowly. So
the diversity is diversity essentially monoculture, we am a location in the Murego West Side, the Bawas and the Bawa, so may our new way on power in our unit, ဒီ monoculture ကျတော့ဒီမျိုးလေးတစ်ခုလေးစိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာခုနကပြောသလိုထိန်းလို့တိမ်လို့ခက်တဲ့အခြေအနေမျိုးတွေဖြစ်လာတာမျိုးတွေရှိတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့သူ့အနေနဲ့တော့ဒီ organic ကိုချက်ချင်းသွားကြမယ်ဆိုတဲ့အခြေအနေစကားမျိုးတော့သူမပြောနိုင်ဘူးသူမပြောဘူးပေါ့နော်သူကိုယ်ပိုင်အနေထားမှာတော့သူ့အနေနဲ့ဒီဇယ်လုပ်ငန်းကိုလည်းပြီးခိုးရတာမဟုတ်တဲ့အတွက်အဆင်ပြေတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လေသမားတွေအနေနဲ့ကျတော့ဒီအထွက်ချက်ချင်းအထွက်ရောသွားမယ်ကိစ္စအချိန်ကာလတစ်ခုထိမြေစီပါကိုချိန်ကာလတစ်ခုထိယူရမယ်ကိစ္စကိုဘာလို့တူလာအဲ့တော့ဈေးဖြတ်တဲ့သူလိုပဲချက်ချင်းဖြတ်လို့ပြောလို့မရတယ်လို့ဖြည်းဖြည်းချင်းမြေစီမြေဩဇာအရေးသူပြန်ကောင်းအောင်လုပ်လာမယ်အပြင်ပအခြေအနေတွေပေါ်မိခိုးရတာကိုယုံနေလာအောင်လုပ်မယ်ဒီလိုမျိုးဖြစ်လာအောင်ကြိုးစားပါလေ
Thank you very much. Your presentation is an excellent one, very educational, very informative, and I learned a lot from your presentation. Thank you for that. Since I'm a weatherman, I'm concerned about weather and climate in your area because I understand the area you're working, the northern part of Thailand, is suffering sickness demand. Sometimes changes going on there. So I have two questions. One is how much pressure you are facing in your farming from the climate change, number one. And number two, you said that you don't use any chemical in your farming. So after many years of farming in your work, what did you find out the status of the fertility of the land? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The first question on climate, it's something that I find really hard to answer because in Thailand now, the tendency seems to be to blame everything on climate change. And I think one of my messages to journalists is just don't let everybody blame everything on climate change. Oh, our dams are empty. It's climate change. That's water mismanagement. Climate change exacerbates things, and it could very well be a big part of it, but stupidity and mismanagement are probably bigger problems right now than climate change. We had a big we had a big drought this last year, and I think part of that though was poor management of water and allowing the dams to run down. You see in this picture, I've dug canals all around the farm. So we've basically taken some land out of rice production, but through the system of rice intensification, you get higher yields. So you can take some land out of rice production and diversify it. And then we have a bunch of canals and ponds through the area to store water. So when the irrigation system goes dry for a month, we can survive. So that's one.
ရာသဘာယာတိလူပြောင်းလဲမှုရဲ့အကျိုးဆက်ကလေယာလုပ်ငန်းပေါ်သူများဖြင့်သူဆိုင်ပြုတ်လုပ်ကိုင်နေတဲ့လေပေါ်မှာဘယ်လိုအကျိုးဆက်ရှိပါလဲလို့ဆရာမေးပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ကိုဆရာဂျက်ကပြန်ဖြေတဲ့အခါမှာအခုခါလက်ရှိခါမှာတော့ထိုင်းနိုင်ငံမှာဘယ်ကိစ္စပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်အကုန်လုံးကဘာယာတိလူပြောင်းလဲမှုကိုပဲလည်းမျိုးတူသူ့ပေါ်ပဲအပြစ်ပုံချနေရပဲတို့ကိုမျိုးတွေ့ရတယ်ဥပမာဖြင့်ဆယ်ထဲမှာရေမရှိဘူးဆိုရင်လည်းယာတိလူပြောင်းလဲလို့ဆယ်ထဲမှာရေမရှိရဘူးဆိုတာမျိုးပြောကြတယ်အမှန်ကတော့ရေနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့စီမံခန့်ခွဲမှုညံပြင်းတာကြောင့်ဆယ်ထဲမှာရေမရှိရမျိုးဖြစ်ပုံများတယ်ပေါ့ယာတိလူကလည်းဆိုယာတိလူပြောင်းလဲမှုကလည်းအခြေအနေကိုပို့ပြီးတော့စိုးစီမယ်သို့တော့အဓိကပို့ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်ဖို့ဆက်နွယ်ပုံများတာဒီရေစီမံခန့်ခွဲမှုညံပြင်းတာဒီလိုအခြေအနေမျိုးတွေ့ရပါလိမ့်မယ်တဲ့ဥပမာပြန်လုပ်ခဲ့တဲ့ຫນွေတုံးကထိုင်းနိုင်ငံမှာဒီ6ခုဖြစ်6ခုဖြစ်တဲ့ဘိုးကောင်ရေရှားမှုဖြစ်တယ်သူ့လေအနေနဲ့တော့တော်တော်အခြေအနေကောင်းသေးတယ်ဘာလို့ကောင်းလဲဆိုတော့သူကမြေရှိတဲ့မြေအပြည့်ကိုစိုက်ပြိုးပြလိုက်တာမျိုးမဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့ဘယ်တော့သူပြောတဲ့ dark canal ပေါ့ဘဲတွေကူးလို့ရတယ်ဘဲကူးမြောင်းလို့မျိုးညောင်းလေးတွေသူဖောက်ထားတယ်အဲ့ဒီမှာရေတိုးလောင်ထားတယ်အဲ့ဒီတခြားနေရာတွေမှာရေမရှိ6သိသွားရင်တော့မှသူ့ရဲ့ချောင်းလေးမြောင်းလေးတွေထဲမှာဆက်ပြီးတော့ရေရှိနေတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီလိုမျိုးသူတို့ဖြစ်ရှင်းတယ်
And just to another point on your climate change question, there are a lot of reports from people who I really trust about some very strange things going on with fruit production, with the flowering periods, and real problems in decline. Mango, they mentioned. There's strange things going on with bananas, longan. So there are things happening that farmers haven't seen before. And that's why I think, again, diversification is so important. If you plant your entire hectare with longan and something goes wrong with that, then you're in trouble. If you've got longan and 5 other things, then it's hedging your bets basically.
Now actually the kuara diအခုလေသမားတွေအများစုခန်းထဲမှာကြုံတွေ့နေရသူတို့ထူးထူးဆန်းဆန်းတစ်ခါမှမကြုံဘူးလေထူးထူးဆန်းဆန်းအခြေအနေမျိုးတွေနဲ့မကြမ်းမကြသူတို့တွေ့ကြုံနေရတာမျိုးရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒါကလည်းဘာလို့ပဲသူတို့အနေနဲ့တော့ပြန်ပြီးညှိုးညင်တယ်ဆိုရင်မျိုးစုံဇီဝမျိုးစုံတွေပွဲပြမှု biodiversity မရှိဘဲနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာဖြစ်ဒီညာတစ်မျိုးတွေကိုစိုက်ပျိုးတဲ့အတွက်သူ့မှာတစ်ခုခုဖြစ်လို့ရှိရင်ဟိုမမြင်ဘူးလားမျိုးမတွေ့ဘူးလားမျိုးထူးထူးဆန်းဆန်းတွေအကုန်လိုက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်ကုန်တယ်ဒါမျိုးဟိုသူဒါမျိုးအခြေအနေကိုသူညွှန်ပြချင်ပါတယ်အဲ့အတွက်စုံလင်အောင်မျိုးခွဲအောင်စိုက်ပျိုးတာထိမ့်သိမ့်တာဒီအရေးပါမယ် biodiversity ဒီအရေးပါမယ်လို့သူထပ်ပြီးတော့ပြောချင်ပါတယ်
And as far as not using any chemical inputs, it's maybe a little bit too early to tell. The rice yields have been very good. They're much better than our neighbors' rice yields. And that's not, again, because I'm a good farmer, because I'm not. I have one man helping me who's a motorcycle mechanic, so he's not really a farmer either. But our rice yields are higher. It's been 3 years now, so there's still time to tell. We are having trouble with pests on the citrus, and the mangoes are suffering, so we're experimenting this year with neem and with other chili and tobacco and other biopesticides, can we call them? Biocontrol agent?
Now we don't go to the people that think you're not going to travel with the people in battery chair, who Joe on the Solon the routine. People which are lady to attract who count now. You would do it, will be attracted now through the Lemonabure or Hawanina Buddha, Buddha, and you chili new pier, so now, I can you, Dura, you, fellow bullet, do that. Don't.
Yeah, my dear agent.
Thank you for presentation and on the permission. Here it is.